Hello everybody, today I'll be reading you Here was Olympus, the Blood of Olympus, chapter 34. Sorry, 36. So our goal today is to read from 339 to 374. Sounds ridiculous, isn't it? But this is a 1 hour book, what can I say? Right, so normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to read one chapter of Leo, and then all the other chapters are going to be Reyna. So it'll be more than 1 hour, I think. Right, she'll carry on reading now. Chapter 36. Leo. At the end of the hall stood a walnut door with a bronze plague. Asclepius, DMEDCDVS FABCPMEIOUDOTPHARPCPMEIODCSMH. That's not what I expected. There may have been more acronyms in this, but by that point, Leo's brain had exploded. Pipe knock. Dr. Asclepius? The door flew open. The man inside had a kindly smile, crinkles around his eyes, short salt and pepper hair, and a well-trimmed beard. He wore a white lab coat over a business suit, a stethoscope around his neck. Your stereotypical doctor outfit, except for one thing. Asclepius held a polished black staff with a live green python coiled around it. Leo wasn't happy to see another snake. The python regarded him with his pale yellow eyes, and Leo had a feeling it was not set to idiot mode. "Hello," said Asclepius. "Doctor?" Piper's smile was so warm it would have melted a boiled. We'd be so grateful for your help. We need the Physikian's cure." Wow, Physikian's cure? That's going to be a hard thing for Asclepius to answer to, but I think he might. Leo wasn't even her target, but Piper's charm speak washed over him irresistibly. He would have done anything to help her get that cure. He would have gone to a medical school, got 12 doctorate degrees, and bought a large green python on a stick. Asclepius put his hand over his heart. "Oh, my dear, I will be delighted to help." Piper's smile wavered. "You would? I mean, of course you would. Come in. Asclepius ushered them into his office. The guy was so nice. Leo figured his office would be full of torture devices. Wait, what? But it looked like, well, a doctor's office. A big maple desk, bookshelf stuffed with medical books, and some of those plastic organ models Leo loved to play with as a kid. He remembered getting in trouble one time because he had turned a cross-section kidney and some skeleton legs into a kidney monster and scared the nurse. Life was simply back then. Asclepius took the big, comfy doctor's chair and laid his staff and serpent across his desk. "Please sit." Jason and Piper took chairs on the patient's side. Leo had to remain standing, which was fine with him. He didn't want to be eye level with the snake. So Asclepius leaned back. "I can't tell you how nice it is to actually talk with patients. The last few thousand years, the paperwork has got out of control. Rush. Fill in forms, deal with red tape, not to mention the giant alabaster guarding who kills everyone in the waiting room. It takes all the fun out of the medicine." "Yeah," Leo said. "Rhea is kind of a downer." Asclepius grinned. "My real daughter, Rhea, isn't like that, I assure you. She's quite nice. At any rate, you did well reprogramming that statue. You have a surgeon's hands. Jason shuddered. Leo with a scalpel? Don't encourage him. The Dr. God chuckled. Now, what seems to be the trouble? He sat forward and peered at Jason. Imperial gold sword wound, but that's healed nicely. No cancer, no heart problems. What's that mole on your left foot? But I'm sure it's banging. Jason blanched. How did you? Oh, of course, Asclepius said. You're a bit short-sighted. Simple fix. He opened his drawer, whipped out a prescription pad and an eyeglasses case. He scribbled something on the pad, then handed the glasses and the script to Jason. Keep the prescription for future references, but these lenses should work. Try them on. Wait, Leo said. Jason is short-sighted? Jason opened the case. I have a little trouble seeing stuff from a distance lately, he admitted. I thought I was just tired. He tried on the glasses, which had a thin frame on of imperial gold. Wow, yeah, that's better. Piper smiled. You look very distinguished. I don't know, man, Leo said. I go for contacts. Glowing orange ones with cat's eye pupils would be cool. Those would be cool. Glasses are fine, Jason decided. Thanks, Sir Dr. Asclepius. But that's not why we came. No, Asclepius steepled his fingers. Well, then let's see. Then he turned to Piper. You seem fine, my dear. Broken arm when you were 6. Fell off a horse. Piper's jaw dropped. How could you possibly know that? Vegetarian diet, he continued. No problem. Just make sure you're getting enough iron and protein. A little weak in the left shoulder. I assume you got hit with something heavy about a month ago. A sandbag in Rome, Piper said. That's amazing. Out in her eyes. And a hot pack if it bothers you. Asclepius advised. And you. He faced Rhea. Oh my. The doctor's expression turned grim. The friendly twinkle disappeared from his eyes. Oh, I see. The doctor's face expression said, I am so sorry. Leo's heart filled with cement. If he'd harboured any last hopes of avoidance, war was to come. They now sang. What? Jason's new glasses flashed. What's wrong with Leo? Hey, Doc. Leo shot him a drop-it look. Hopefully they knew about patient confidentiality in ancient Greece. We came for the Physicean cure. Can you help us? I've got some Pyslocian mint here and a very nice yellow daisy. He set the ingredients on the desk, carefully avoiding the snake's mouth. Hold it, Piper said. Is there something wrong with Rhea or not? Asclepius cleared his throat. Never mind. Forget I said anything. Now, you want the Physicean's cure? Piper frowned. But, seriously, guys, Leo said, I'm fine, except for the fact that today is destroying the world tomorrow. Let's focus. They didn't look happy about it, but Asclepius forged ahead. So this daisy was picked by my father Apollo? Yes, Leo said. He said he sends hugs and kisses. Asclepius picked up the flower and sniffed it. I do hope Dad comes through this war all right. Jesus can be quite unreasonable. Now, the only missing ingredient is the heartbeat of the chained god. I have it, Piper said. At least I can summon the Mackay. Excellent. Just a moment, dear. He looked at his python Spike. Are you ready? Spike, are you ready? He stifled a laugh. Your snake's name is Spike? Spike looked at him balefully. He hissed, revealing a crown of spikes around his neck like a basilisk's. Leo's laugh crawled back to his throat to die. "My bad," he said. "Of course your name is Spike." "He's a little grumpy," Asclepius said. "People are always confusing my staff with the staff of Hermes, which has 2 snakes, obviously. Over the centuries, people have called Hermes' staff the symbol of medicine, when of course it should be my staff." Spike feels slighted. George and Martha get all the attention anyway. Asclepius set the date. Sorry, I lost where I was. Asclepius sets the daisy and poison in front of Spike. Pylosian mint, certainty of death, the curse of Delos, anchoring that which cannot be anchored. Now the final ingredient, the heartbeat of the chained god. Chaos, violence, and fear of mortality. He turned to Piper. "My dear, you may release the maquet." Piper closed her eyes. Wind swirled through the room. Angry voices wailed. Leo felt a strange desire to smack Spike with a hammer. He wanted to strangle the good doctor with his bare hands. Then Spike unhinged his jaw and swallowed the angry wind. His neck ballooned as the spirits of battle went down his throat. He snapped up the daisy and the vial of Pylosian mint for dessert. Won't the poison hurt him?" Jason asked. No, Asclepius said. "Wait and see." A moment later, Spike belched out a new vial and stoppered a glass tube no bigger than Leo's finger. Dark red liquid glowed inside. "The Physician's cure." Asclepius picked up the vial and turned it in the light. His expression became serious. Then, bewildered, "Wait! Why did I agree to make this?" Piper placed her hand palm on the desk. "Because we need it to save the world. It's very important. You're the only one who can help us." Her charm was so potent, even Spike, the snake, relaxed. He curled around his staff and went to sleep. Asclepius' expression softened like he was easing himself into a hot bath. "Of course," the god said. "I forgot, but you must be careful. Hades hates it when I raise people from the dead. The last time I gave someone this potion, Lord of the Underworld complained to Zeus, and I was killed by a lightning bolt. Boom!" Leo flinched. "You're pretty good for a dead guy." "Oh, I got better. That was part of the promise. You see, when Jesus killed me, my father Apollo got very upset. He couldn't take out his anger on Jesus directly. The king of the gods was much too powerful, so Apollo took revenge on the makers of lightning bolts instead. He killed some of the elder Cyclopses for that. For that, Jesus punished Apollo quite severely. Finally, to make peace, Jesus agreed to make me the god of medicine, with the understanding that I would bring anyone else back to life." Asclepius' eyes filled with uncertainty. "And yet here I am, giving you the cure. Because you realize how important this is," Piper said. "You're willing to make an exception?" "Yes, reluctantly." Asclepius handed Piper the vial. "At any rate, the potion must be administered as soon as possible after death. It can be injected or poured into the mouth, and there is only enough for one person. Do you understand me?" He looked directly at Leo. "We understand," Piper promised. "Are you sure you don't want to come with us, Asclepius? Your guardian is out of commission. You'd be really helpful above the Argo too." Asclepius' smile wistful. "The Argo too? Back when I was a demigod. I sailed on the original ship, you know. Ah, to be a carefree adventurer again." "Yeah," Jason muttered. "Carefree. But alas, I cannot. Jesus will be quite angry with me for helping you. Besides, the Guardian will reprogram itself soon. You should leave. Asclepius rose. Best wishes, demigods, and if you see my father again, please give him my regrets. Rhea wasn't sure what he meant, but they took their leave. As they passed through the waiting room, the statue of Hygeia was sitting on a bench, pouring acid on her face and singing, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star," while her golden snake gnawed at her foot. The peaceful scene was almost enough to lift Leo's spirits. Back on the Argo, too, they gathered into the mess hall and filled in the rest of the crew. "I don't like it," Jason said, the way Asclepius looked at Leo. He just saw my heart sickness." Leo tried to smile. "You know I'm dying to see Calypso." "That's just so sweet," Piper said, "but I'm not sure that's it." Percy frowned at the glowing red flower sat in the middle of the table. "Any of us might die, right? So we just need to keep the potion handy, assuming only one of us dies," Jason pointed out. "There's only one dose." Hazel and Frank stared at Leo. He gave them a look, like, "Knock it off!" The others didn't see the full picture. "The storm or fire, the world must fall." Jason or Leo in Olympia, Nike had warned that one of the four demigods would would die. Percy, Hazel, Frank, or Leo. Only one name overlapped those lists, Leo. And if Leo's plan was going to work, he couldn't have anybody else close when he pulled the trigger. His friends would never accept his decision. They would argue. They would try to save him. They would insist on finding another way. But this time Leo was convinced there was no other way, like Annabeth always told him. Fighting against the prophecy never worked. It just created more trouble. He had to make sure this war ended once and for all. "We have to keep our options open," Piper suggested. "We need like a designated medic to carry the potion, somebody who can react quickly and heal whoever gets healed." "Good idea, Beauty Queen." Leo lied. "I nominate you." Piper blinked. "But Annabeth is wiser. Hazel can move faster on all areas. Frank can turn into animals. But you've got heart." Annabeth squeezed her friend's hand. "Leo's right. When the time comes, you'll know what to do." "Yeah," Jason agreed. "I have a feeling you're the best choice, Pipes. You're going to be there with us at the end, whatever happens, storm or fire." Leo picked up at the vial. "Is everyone in agreement?" No one objected. Leo locked eyes with Hazel. "You know what needs to happen." He pulled moist cloth from his tool belt and made a big slow show of wrapping up the physically insecure. Then he presented the package to Piper. "Okay then," he said. "Athens tomorrow morning, gang. Athens tomorrow morning. Be ready to fight some giants." "Yeah," Frank murmured. I know I'll sleep well." After dinner broke up, Jason and Piper tried to waylay Leo. They wanted to talk about what happened with Asclepius, but Leo evaded them. "I've got to work on the engine," he said, which was true. Once in the engine room, with only Buffer the one on the table for company, Leo took a deep breath. He reached into his tool belt and pulled out the actual vial of physically insecure. Not the trick of the mist version he'd handed to Piper. Buffer blew steam at him. "Hey man, I had to," Leo said. Buffer activated his holographic hedge. "Put some clothes on. Look, it's got to be this way, otherwise we'll all die." Buffer made a plaintive squeal, then clattered into the corner in a sulk. Leo stared at the engine. He'd spent so much time putting it together. He'd sacrificed months of sweat and pain and loneliness. Now the Argo 2 was approaching. the end of its voyage. Leo's whole life, his childhood with Canada, his mother's death in the warehouse fire, his years as a foster kid, his months second half-blood with Jason and Piper, all of it will culminate tomorrow morning in one final battle. He opened the access panel. Festus's voice creaked over the intercom. Yeah, buddy, Leo agreed. It's time. More creaking. I know. Yeah, buddy. More creaking. I know, Leo said. Together till the end. Festus squeaked affirmatively. Leo checked the ancient bronze astrolabe, which was now fitted with a crystal from Ogygia. Leo could only hope it would work. I will get back to you, Calypso, he muttered. I promise on the river Styx. He flipped a switch and brought the navigation device online. He set the timer for 24 hours. Finally, he opened the engine's ventilator line and pushed inside. The vial of physical and secure, it dissipated into the veins of the ship with a decisive thunk. Too late to turn back now, Leo said. He curled on the floor and closed his eyes, determined to enjoy the familiar hum of the engine one last night. Alright, that's the end of the chapter of us reading Leo for today. Now we're going to start Rayna on chapter 37. Right, ready to read? Let me just leave a long pause like I usually do. And scare you. And I'm also going to scare you too. Chapter 37. Reyna. Turn back! Turn back! Reyna wasn't keen to give orders to Pegasus, the lord of flying horses, but she was even less keen to get shot out of the sky. As they approached Camp Half-Blood in the pre-dawn hours of 1st August, she spotted 6 Roman onagers. Even in the dark, their imperial gold plating glinted. Their massive throwing arms bent back limp ship masts, listening in a storm. Crews of artillerists suckered around the machines, loading the slings, checking the torsion of the ropes. What are those? Nico called. He flew about 20 feet to her left on the dark Pegasus. Blackjack. Siege on her dark Pegasus blackjack. Siege weapons, Rayna said. If we get any closer, they can shoot us out of the sky. From this high up, on her right, Coach shouted from the back of his steed. Kaido, these are onagers, kid. Those things can kick higher than Bruce Lee. Lord Pegasus, Rayna said, resting her hand on the stallion's neck. We need a safe place to land. Pegasus seemed to understand. He wheeled to the left. The other flying horses followed. Blackjack, Guido, and 6 others were towing the Athenoparthenos beneath them on the cables. As they skirted the western edge of the camp, Reyna took in the scene. The Legion lined the base of the eastern hills, ready for a dawn attack. The onagers were arrayed behind them in a loose semicircle at 300 yards intervals. Judging from the size of the weapons, Reyna calculated that Octavian had enough firepower to destroy everything living thing in the valley. But that was the only part of the threat. Encamped along the Legion's flanks were hundreds of auxiliary forces. Reyna couldn't see well in the dark, but he spotted at least one tribe of wild centaurs and an army of cynocephali, the dog-headed men who'd made an uneasy truce with the Legion centuries ago. The Romans were badly outnumbered, surrounded by a sea of unreliable allies. There! Nage pointed towards Long Island Sound, where the lights of a large yacht gleamed a quarter of a mile offshore. We could land on the deck of that ship. The Greeks control the sea. Rayna wasn't sure the Greeks would be any friendlier than the Romans, but Pegasus seemed to like the idea. He banked towards the dark waters of the Sound. The ship was a white pleasure craft 100 feet long, with sleek lines and dark tinted portals. Painted on the bow in red letters was the name My Amor. On the forward deck was a helipad big enough for the Parthenis. Reyna saw no crew. She guessed the ship was a regular mortal vessel, anchored for the night. But if she was wrong, and the ship was a trap, it's our best shot, Nico said. The horses are tired. We need to set down. She nodded reluctantly. Let's do it. Pegasus landed on the forward deck with Guido and Blackjack. The 6 other horses gently set the Parthenis on the helipad and then settled around it. With their cables and harnesses, they looked like coursed animals. Reyna dismounted, as she had 2 days ago when she first met Pegasus. She knelt before the horse. Thank you, O Great One. Pegasus spread his wings and inclined his head. Even now, after flying halfway up the east coast together, Reyna would scarcely believe the immortal horse had allowed her to ride. Reyna had always pictured him as solid white with dove-like wings, but Pegasus's coat was rich brown, mottled with red and gold around the muzzle, which Hedge claimed were the marks where the stallion had emerged from the blood and ichor of his beheaded mother, Medusa. Pegasus's wings were the colours of an eagle's, gold, white, brown and rust, which made him look much more handsome and regal than plain white. He was the colour of all horses, representing all his offspring. Lord Pegasus nickered. Hedge trotted over to translate. Pegasus said he should leave before the shooting starts. His life force connects all Pegasus, see? If he gets injured, all the winged horses feel his pain. That's why he doesn't get out much. He's immortal, but his offspring aren't. He doesn't want them to suffer on his account. He's asked the other horses to stay with us to help us complete our mission. I understood, Reyna said. Thank you. Pegasus whined. Hedge's eyes widened. He choked back a sob, then fished a handkerchief out of his backpack and dabbed his eyes. Coach, Nico frowned with concern. What did Pegasus say? He says he didn't come to us in person because of my message. Hedge turned to Rayna. He did it because of you. He experiences the feeding of all winged horses. He followed your friendship with Sisypo. Pegasus says if he's never been more touched by a demigod's compassion for a winged horse. He gives you the title, horse friend. This is a great honour. Rayna's eyes stung. She bowed her head. Thank you, Lord. Pegasus pawed the deck. The other winged horses whined in salute. Then their sire launched himself upward and spiraled into the night. Hedge stared at the clouds in amazement. Pegasus hasn't shown himself in hundreds of years. He patted Rayna on the back. You did good, Roman. Rayna didn't feel like she deserved credit for putting Sisypo through so much suffering, but she forced down her feelings of guilt. Nico, we should check the ship, she said. If there's anyone aboard, way ahead of you. She stroked Blackjack's muzzle. I sense 2 mortals asleep in the main cabin. Nobody else. I'm no child of hypnosis, because I've sent some deep dreams their way. Should be enough to keep them snoozing until, after sunrise. Rayna tried not to stare at him. In the last few days, he'd become so much stronger. Hedge's nature magic had brought him back from the brink. She'd seen Nico doing some impressive things, manipulating dreams. He had always been able to do that. Coach Ed rubbed his hands eagerly. So, when can we go ashore? My wife is waiting. Rayna scanned the horizon. A Greek triumph patrolled just offshore, but it didn't seem to have noticed their arrival. No alarms sounded, no signs of movement along the beach. She caught a glimpse of silver wake in the moonlight. After a mile to the west, a black motorboat was speeding towards them with no running lights. Rayna hoped it was a mortal vessel. Then it got closer, and Rayna's hands tightened on the hilt of her sword. Glittering on the boat's prow was a laurel wreath designed with letter spore. The leader sent a welcoming committee. Nico followed her gaze. I thought the Romans didn't have a navy. We didn't, she said. Apparently Octavian has been busier than I realized. So we attack, Coach Head said, because nobody's standing in my way when I'm this close. Rayna counted 3 people in the speedboat. The 2 in the back wore helmets, but Rayna recognized the driver's wedge-shaped face and stocky shoulders. Michael Cahal will try to parley, Rayna decided. That's one of Octavian's right-hand men, but he's a good legionnaire. I may be able to reason with him. The wind swept Nico's dark hair across his face. But if you're wrong, the black boat slowed and pulled alongside. Mitchell called up, Rayna, I've got orders to arrest you and confiscate the statue. I'm coming aboard with 2 other centurions. I'd prefer to do this without bloodshed. Rayna tried to control her trembling legs. Come aboard, Mitchell. She turned to Nico and Coach Hedge. If I'm wrong, be ready, Mitchell Cahal won't be easy to fight. Mitchell wasn't dressed for combat. He wore only his purple camp shirt, jeans, and running shoes. He carried no visible weapon, but that didn't make Rayna feel any better. His arms were as thick as brick cables. His expression as welcoming as a brick wall. The dove tattoo on his forearm looked more like a bird of prey. His eyes glittered darkly as he took in the scene. The Athanaparthenos harnessed to its team of Pegasus. Nico with his sergeant sword drawn, Coach Hedge with his baseball bat, Mitchell's backup centurions with Leela from the fourth cohort, and Dakota from the 5th. Strange choices. Layla, daughter of Ceres, wasn't known for her aggressiveness. She wasn't usually quite level-headed. And Dakota, Reyna couldn't believe the son of Bacchus, the most good-natured of the officers would side with Octavian. Reyna Ramirez Arellano, like Mitchell said, like he was reading a scroll. Former praetor? I am a praetor, Reyna corrected. Unless I have been removed by a vote of all the Senate. Is that the case? Mitchell sighed heavily. His heart didn't seem to be in his task. I have orders to arrest you and hold you for trial. On whose authority? You know whose. On what charges? Listen, Rayna. Mitchell rubbed his palm across his forehead like it might wipe any headache. I don't like this any more than you do, but I have my orders. Illegal orders. It's too late for argument. Octavian has assumed emergency powers. The Legion is behind him. Is that true? She looked pointedly at Dakota and Leela. Leela wouldn't meet her eyes. Dakota winked like he was trying to convey a message, but it was hard to tell with him. He might have been twitching simply for too much sugary Kool-Aid. We're at war, Mitchell said. We have to pull together, Dakota and Leela. We have to pull together. Dakota and Leela have not been the most enthusiastic supporters. Octavian gave them this one last chance to prove themselves. If they help me bring you in, preferably alive, but dead if necessary, then they can keep their rank and prove their loyalty. To Octavian, Reyna noted, not the Legion. Mitchell spread his hands, which was only slightly smaller than baseball mints. You can't blame the officers for falling into line. Octavian has a plan to win, and it's a good plan. At dawn, these onages will destroy the Greek camp without single loss of Roman life. The gods should be healed. Nico stepped in. You'd wipe out half the demigods in the world, half the gods' legacy to heal them. You'll tear apart Olympus before Gaia even wakes up. And she is wakened, Centurion. Michael scowled. Ambassador of Pluto, son of Hades, whatever you call yourself, you've been named an enemy spy. I've got orders to take you in for execution. You can try, Nico said coldly. The face-off was so absurd. Should have been humorous. Nico was several years younger, half a foot shorter, and 50 pounds lighter. But Michael didn't make a move. The veins in his neck pulsed. Dakota coughed. Rayna, just come with us peacefully, please. We can work this out. He was definitely winking at her. All right, enough talk. Coach Head seized up Mateo Cahill. Let me take this joker down. I've handled bigger. Mitchell smirked at that. I'm sure you're a brave fawn, but satyr. Coach Head leaped at the Centurion. He brought his baseball down back with full force, but Mitchell simply caught it and yanked it away from the coach. Mitchell broke the bat over his knee, then pushed the coach back, though Reyna could tell Mitchell wasn't trying to hurt him. That's it, Coach Hedge growled. Now I'm really mad. Coach, Reyna warned, Mitchell is very strong. You'd need to be an auger from somewhere on the port side. Down on the waterline, a voice yelled, Cahill, what's taking so long? Mitchell flinched. Octavian? Of course it's me, yelled from the voice from the back. I'm tired of waiting for you to carry out my orders. I'm coming aboard. Everyone on both sides, drop your weapons. Mitchell frowned. Sir? Everyone? Even us? You don't solve even problem with a sword or a fist. You, big dolt, I can handle these Grayson scum. Mitchell looked unsure about that. He motioned to Layla and Dakota, who set their swords on the deck. Rayna glanced at Nico. Obviously something was wrong. She couldn't sense. Obviously something was wrong. She couldn't think of any reason why Octavian would be here, putting himself in harm's way. He definitely wouldn't order his own officers to get rid of their weapons, but Rayna instincts told her to play along. She dropped her blade. Nico did the same. Everyone is disarmed, sir, Mitchell called. Good, yelled Octavian. A dark silhouette appeared at the top of the ladder, but he was much too big to be Octavian. A smaller shape with wings fluttered up behind him. A harpy. But by the time Rayna realized what was happening, the Cyclopses had crossed the deck in 2 large strides. He bopped Mitchell Cahill on the head. The Centurion fell like a sack of rocks. Dakota and Layla backed away in harm. The harpy fluttered to the deckhouse roof. In the moonlight, her feathers were the colour of dried blood. Strong, said Ella, preening her wings. Ella's boyfriend is stronger than the Romans. Friends? Boomed Tyson the Cyclops. He scooped up Rayna in one arm and Hedin and Nico in the other. We have come to save you! Hooray for us! Think we have time for at least 2 more chapters or 1. This is page 361. We nearly did it. Let's achieve our goal. 3, 7, 6. Come on, say it with me. 3, 7, 7. 3, 7, 7. 3, 7, 7. Let's do this, guys. There's another 16 more pages. Let's do this, guys. Wait, sorry. Three, seven, 377. Yes, do this. Sorry, let me just get this fast. Chapter 58, Reyna. Chapter 58, Reyna. Reyna had never been so glad to see a Cyclops, at least until Tyson set them down and wheeled on Layla and Dakota. Bad Romans! Tyson, wait, Reyna said. Don't hurt them. Tyson frowned. He was small for a Cyclops. Still a child, really. at least a little over 6 feet tall. His messy brown hair crusted with salt water. His big single eye, the colour of maple syrup. He wore only a swimsuit and a flannel pyjama shirt, like you couldn't decide whether to go swimming or go to sleep. He exuded a stronger smell of peanut butter. "They are not bad," he asked. "No?" Rayna said. "They were following bad orders. I think they're sorry for that, aren't you, Dakota?" Dakota put his arms up so fast he looked like Superman, about to take off. "Rayna, I was trying to clue you in. Layla and I planned to switch sides and help you take down Mitchell." "That's right." Layla almost fell backwards over the railing, but before we could, the Cyclops did it for us. Coachhead snorted. "A likely story." Tyson sneezed. "Sorry, goat fur, itchy nose. Do we trust Romans?" "I do," Reyna said. "Dakota, Layla, you understand what our mission is?" Layla nodded. "You want to return the statue to the Greeks as a peace offering. Let us help." "Yeah," Dakota nodded vigorously. "The legion's not nearly as united as Mitchell claimed. We don't trust all the auxiliar forces Octavian had gathered." Nico laughed bitterly. "A little late for doubts. You're surrounded. As soon as Camp Half-Blood is destroyed, those allies will turn on you." "So what do we do?" asked Dakota. "We have an hour at most until sunrise." 5:52 a.m., said Ella, still perched on the boathouse. "Sunrise, eastern seaboard, August 1st. Timetables from naval meteorology. 1 hour and 12 minutes is more than 1 hour. Dakota's eyes ticked. "I stand corrected." Coach Hedge looked at Tyson. "Can we get him to Camp Half-Blood safely? Is Melly all right?" Tyson scratched his chin thoughtfully. "She is very round, but she's okay," Hedge persisted. "She hasn't given birth yet. Delivery, of course, occurs at the end of the 3rd trimester," Ella advised. "Page 43, the new mother's guide. Page 43, the new mother's guide, too." "I've got to get over there." His looked like he was ready to jump overboard and swim. Rayna put her hand over his shoulder. "Coach, we'll get you to your wife, but let's do it, right? Tyson, how did you and Ella get to this ship?" "Rainbow. You took a rainbow?" He's my fish pony friend, a hippocampus," Nico advised. I see, Rayna thought for a moment. "Could you and Ella escort the coach back to Camp Half-Blood safely?" "Yes," Tyson said. "We can do that." Good. Coach, go see your wife. Tell the campers I plan to fly the Athena partners to Half-Blood Hill at sunrise. It's a gift from Rome to Greece to heal our divisions. If they could refrain from shooting me out of the sky, I'd be grateful." "You got it," Hedge said. "But what about the Roman legion?" "That's a problem," Layla said gravely. "Those on-agers will blast you out of the sky." "We need a distraction," Reyna said. "Something to delay the attack on Camp Half-Blood and preferably put those weapons out of commission." "Dakota, Layla, will your cohorts follow you?" I think so, yes," Dakota said. "But if we ask them to commit treason?" "It isn't treason," Layla said. "Not if we're acting on direct orders from a praetor. And Reyna is still praetor." Reyna turned to Nico. "I need you to go with Dakota and Layla while they're stirring trouble in the ranks, trying to delay the attack. You have to find a way to sabotage those on-agers." Nico's smile made Reyna glad. He was on her side. "My pleasure. We'll buy you time to deliver the Athena Parthenus." Dakota shuffled his feet. "Even if you get statue to the hill, what's to stop Octavian from destroying it once it's in place? He's got lots of firepower, even without the on-agers." Reyna peered up at the ivory face of the Athena, veiled beneath the camouflage netting. "Once the statue is returned to the Greeks, I think it will be difficult to destroy. It has great magic. He has simply chosen not to use it yet." Layla bent down slowly and retrieved her sword, keeping her eyes on the ascendant partners. I'll take your word for it. What do we do with Michael? Reyna regarded the snowy mountain of Hawaiian demigod. Put him on your boat. Don't hurt him or bind him. I have a feeling Mitchell's heart is in the right place. He just has the bad luck of being sponsored by the wrong person. Nico sheathed his black sword. You sure about this, Rayna? I don't like leaving you alone. Blackjack whined and licked the side of Nico's face. Go, okay, I'm sorry. Nico wiped the horse's spit. The horse spit. Rayna's not alone. She's got herd of excellent Pegasus. Rayna couldn't help but smile. I'll be fine with luck. We'll all meet again soon enough. We'll fight side by side against Gaia's forces. Be careful and evil man. Dakota and Layla repeated the cheer. Tyson furrowed his single eyebrow. Who is Ave? It means go Romans. Go Romans. Ave Romans. Wait, where was I? Sorry. Go Romans. Reyna clapped the Cyclops' forearm. But by all means, go Greeks too. Go Greeks too. The words sounded strange in her mouth. She faced Nico. She wanted to hug him, but wasn't sure the gesture would be welcome. She extended her hand. It's been an honor questing with you, son of Hades. Nico's grip was strong. You're the most courageous demigod I've ever met. Reyna, he faltered, perhaps realizing he had a large audience. I won't let you down. See you on Camp Half-Blood. The sky began to lighten in the east as the group dispersed. Soon Reyna stood on the deck of the My Armor alone, except for 8 Pegasus and a 40-foot-tall Athena. She tried to steady her nerves until Nico, Dakota, and Layla had time to disrupt the Legion's attack. She couldn't do anything, but she hated standing around and waiting. Just over that dark line of hills, her comrades of the 12th Legion were preparing for a needless attack. If Rayna could have stayed with them, he would have guided them better. She could have kept Octavian and Jack. Perhaps the giant Orion was correct. She failed in her duties. She remembered the ghosts of the balcony in San Juan, pointing at her, whispering accusations. Murderer, traitor. She remembered the feel of the golden saber in her hand as she slashed down her father's scepter, his face full of outrage and betrayal. You are a Ramirez Arellano, her father used to rant. Never abandon your post. Never let anyone, above all, never betray your own. By helping Greece, Reyna had done all of those things. A Roman was supposed to destroy her enemies. Instead, Reyna had joined forces with them. She left her legion in the hands of a madman. What would her mother say? Bellona, the war goddess. Blackjack might have sensed her agitation. He clopped over and nuzzled her. She stroked his muzzle. I don't have any treats for you, boy. He bumped her affectational. Nico told her that Blackjack was Percy's usual ride, but he seemed friendly to everyone. He carried the son of Hades without protest. Now he was comforting a Roman. She wrapped her arms around his powerful neck. His coat smelled just like Sisyphos, a mixture of fresh cut grass and warm bread. She let loose a soul that had been building in her chest. As praetor, she couldn't show weakness or fear. To her comrade, she had to stay strong, but the horse didn't seem to mind. He nickered gently. Rayna couldn't understand horse, but he seemed to say, It's all right, you've done well. She looked up at the fading stars. Mother, she said, I haven't prayed to you enough. I've never met you. I've never asked for your help, but please this morning give me the strength to do what is right. As if for one cue, something flashed on the eastern horizon. A light across the sand approaching in fast, like another speedboat. For one latent moment, Rayna thought it was the sign from Bellona. It was a sign from Bellona. The dark shape got closer. Rayna's hope turned to dread. She waited too long, paralyzed with disbelief, as the figure resolved into a large humanoid running towards her across the surface of the water. The first arrow struck Blackjack's flank. The horse collapsed with a shriek of pain. Rayna screamed, but before she could move, a second arrow hit the deck between her feet. Attached to its shaft was a glowing red out the size of a wristwatch, counting down from 5 minutes. From 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 500, 459, 458. Okay, last chapter, okay? Chapter 39, Rayna. I wouldn't move, Praetor. Orion stood on the surface of the water, 50 feet to starboard. An arrow knocked in his bow. That through Rayna's haze of rage and grief, she noticed the giant's new scars. His fight with the hunters had left him with mottled grey and pink scarred tissues on his arms and face, so he looked like a bruised peach in the process of rotting. The mechanical eye on his left side was dark. His hair had burned away, leaving only ragged patches. His nose was swollen and red from the bowstring Nico had snapped in his face. All of this gave Rayna a twinkle of dark satisfaction. Regrettably, the giant still had a smug smile. At Rayna's fit, the timer on the arrow read 4:42. Explosive arrows are very touchy, said Orion. Once they're embered, even the slightest motion can set them off. I wouldn't want you to miss the last 4 minutes of your life. Rayna's senses sharpened. The Pegasus clutched nervously around the antenna partners. Dawn began to break. The wind from the shore brought a faint scent of strawberries. Lying next to her on the deck, the Blackjack wheezed and shuddered, still alive but badly wounded. Her heart pounded so hard she thought her eardrums might burst. She extended her strength to Blackjack, trying to keep him alive. She would not see him die. She wanted to shout insults at the giant, but her first words were surprisingly calm. What of my sister? Orion's white teeth flashed in his ruined face. I would love to tell you she was dead. I would love to see the pain on your face. And as far as I know, your sister still lives. So did Thalia Grace and her annoying hunters. They surprised me. I'll admit, I was forced into the sea to escape them. For the past few days, I've been wounded and in pain, healing slowly, building a new bow. But don't worry, Praetor. You will die first. Your precious statue will be burned in a great conflagration. After Gaia has risen, when the mortal world is ending, I will find your sister. I will tell her you died painfully. Then I will kill her. He grinned. So all is well. 4 minutes, 4 seconds. Hyla was alive. Thalia and the hunters were still out there somewhere. But none of that would matter. If Rayna's mission failed, the sun was rising on the last day of the world. Blackjack's breathing became more laboured. Rayna mustered her courage. The winged horse needed her. Lord Pegasus had named her Horsewind, and she would not let him down. She couldn't think about the entire world right now. She had to concentrate on what was right next to her. 3 minutes, 54 seconds. So, she glared at Orion. You're damaged and ugly, but not dead. I suppose that means I'll need the help of a god to kill you. Orion chuckled. Sadly, you Romans have never been very good at summoning gods to your aid. I guess they don't think much of you, eh? Reyna was tempted to agree, but she had prayed to her mother and been blessed with the arrival of her home Isitil giant. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. And yet Rayna laughed. Ah, Orion! The giant smile wavered. You have a strange sense of humour, girl. What are you laughing about? Bellona has answered to my prayer. She doesn't fight my battles for me. She doesn't guarantee my easy victory. She grants me opportunities to prove myself. She gives me strong enemies and potential allies. Orion's left eye sparked. You speak nonsense. A column of fire is about to destroy you and your precious Greek statue. No ally can help you. Your mother has abandoned you. Has you abandoned your legion? But she hasn't, Reyna said. Bellona was just a war goddess. She wasn't like the Greek Enyo, who was simply an abundant of carnage. Bellona's temple was where the Romans greeted foreign ambassadors. Wars were declared there, but peace treaties were also negotiated. Lasting peace based on strength. 3 minutes, 1 second. Rayna drew her knife. Bellona gave me the chance to make peace with the Greeks and increase the strength of Rome. I took it. If I die, I will die defending the cause. So, I say my mother is with me today. She will add her strength to mine. Shoot your arrow, Orion. It won't matter when I throw this blade and pierce your heart. You will die. Orion stood motionless on the waves. His face was a mask of concentration. His one good eye blinked amber. A bluff, he growled. I've killed hundreds like you girls playing at war, pretending they are equal to the giants. They are the equal to giants. I will not grant you a quick death, Praetor. I will watch you burn, the way the hunters burned me. 2 minutes, 31 seconds. Blackjack wheezed, kicking his legs against the deck. The sky was turning pink. A wind from the shore caught the camouflage netting on the Athenopartus and stripped it away, sending the silver cloth rippled across the sound. The Athenopartus gleamed in the early light, and Reyna thought how beautiful the goddess would look on the hill above the Greek camp. It must happen, she thought, hoping the Pegasus could sense her intentions. You must complete the journey without me. She inclined her head to the Athenopartus. My lady has been honoured to escort you. Orion scoffed. Talking to your enemy statues now? Fertile. You have roughly 2 minutes of life. Oh, I don't buy your time frame, giant, Rayna said. A Roman does not wait for death. She seeks it out and meets it on her own terms. She seeks it out and meets it on her own terms. She seeks it out and meets it on her own terms. Very Roman-like. I think I'm just getting tired from reading for this from 57 minutes until 11 o'clock in the night, I think. Right, carry on. It must happen, she heard. My lady, it has been honoured to escort you, she said to the Athenoparthus. Orion scoffed. Talking to enemy statues now? Fataya, you have roughly 2 minutes of life. Oh, but I don't abide your time frame, giant, Rayna said. A Roman does not wait for death. She seeks it out and meets it on her own terms. She threw her knife. It hit true, right in the middle of the giant's chest. Orion bellowed in agony, and Rayna thought what a pleasing last sound that was to hear. She flung her cloak in front of her and fell on the explosive arrow, determined to shield Blackjack and the other Pegasus, and hopefully protect the mortals sleeping below deck. She had no idea whether her body would contain the explosives, the explosion, whether her cloak could smother the flames, but it was her best chance to save her friend and her mission. She tensed, waiting to die. She felt the pressure as the arrow detonated, but it wasn't what she expected. Against her ribs, the explosion made only the smallest pop, like an overinflated balloon. Her cloak became uncomfortably warm. No flames burst forth. Why was she still alive? Risk, said a voice in her head. In a trance, Reyna got to her feet. Smoke curled from the edges of her cloak. She realized something was different about the purple fabric. It glittered as if woven through the filament of imperial gold. At her feet, a section of the deck had been reduced to a circle of charcoal, but her cloak wasn't even singed. Accept my aegis, Rayna. Remember as I will know. Said the voice for today you have proven yourself a hero of Olympus. Rayna stared at the amazement at the partners, glowing with a faint golden aura. The aegis from Rayna's years of study, she recalled the term aegis didn't apply only to her and shield. It also meant the goddess's cloak. According to the legend, Athena sometimes cut pieces of her mantle and draped them over statues in her temples or over her chosen heroes to shield them. Rayna's cloak, which she'd worn for years, had suddenly changed. It has absorbed the explosion. She tried to say something to thank the goddess, but her voice wouldn't work. The statue's glowing aura faded. The ringing in Rayna's ears cleared. She became aware of Orion still roaring in pain as he staggered across the surface of the water. You have failed! He clawed her knife from his chest. And tossed it into the waves. I still lived! He drew his bow and fired, but it seemed to happen in slow motion. Rayna swept her cloak in front of her. The arrow shattered against the cloth. She charged to the railing and leaped at the giant. The jump should have been impossibly far, but Rayna felt a surge of power in her limbs, as if her mother Bellona was lending her strength. A return for all the strength Rayna had lent others over the years. Rayna grabbed the giant's bow and swung it around on it like a gymnast, landing on the giant's back. She locked her legs around his waist, then twisted her cloak in a rope and pulled it across Orion's neck with all her might. He instinctively dropped his bow. He clutched at the glimmered fabric, but his fingers steamed and blistered when he touched it. Sour, acrid, and smoke rose from his neck. Rayna pulled tighter. This is for Phoebe, she snarled in his ears. For Kinsey, for all those you killed, you will die at the hands of a girl. Orion thrashed and fought, but Rayna was still unshakable. The power of Athena infused her cloak. Bellona blessed her with strength and resolve. Not one, but two powerful goddesses aided her. Yet the kill was for Rayna to complete. Complete it she did. The giant crumbled to his knees and sank in the water. Rayna didn't let go until he ceased to thrash and his body dissolved into sea foam. His mechanical eye disappeared beneath the waves. His bow began to sink. Rayna let it. She had no interest in spoils of war, no desire to let any part of the giant survive. Like her father's mania and all the other angry ghosts in her past, Orion could teach her nothing. He deserved to be forgotten. Besides, dawn was breaking. Rayna swam for the edge. Okay, last chapter, okay? Chapter 60. Rayna. No time for enjoying her victory over Orion. Blackjack's muzzle was foaming. His legs spasmed. Blood trickled from the arrow wound in his flank. Rayna ripped through the supply bag that Phoebe had given her. She swapped the wound with healing potion. She poured unicorn draught over the blade of her silver pocket knife. Please, please, she murmured to herself. In truth, she had no idea what she was doing, but she cleaned the wound as best as she could and gripped the shaft of the arrow. If it had a barbed tip, pulling it out might cause more damage. But if it was poisoned, she couldn't leave it in. Nor could she push it through, since it was embedded in the middle of his body. She would have chosen the lesser evil. This will hurt, my friend, she told Blackjack. He huffed as if to say, tell me something I don't know. With her knife, she cut a slit on either side of the wound. She pulled out the arrow. Blackjack shrieked, but the arrow came out cleanly. The point wasn't barbed. It could have been poisoned, but there was no way to be sure. One problem at a time. Reyna poured more healing potion over the wound and bandaged it. She applied pressure, counting under her breath. the using seemed to be less to lessen. She trickled unicorn draught into Blackjack's mouth. She lost track of time. The horse's pulse became stronger and steadier. His eyes cleared of pain. His breathing eased. By the time Rayna stood up, she was shaken with fear and exhaustion. But Blackjack was alive. Blackjack was still alive. "You're going to be fine," she promised. "I'll get you help from Camp Half-Blood." Blackjack made a grumbling sound. Rayna could have sworn he tried to say donuts. Donuts. She must have been going delicious. Belatedly, she realized how much the sky had lightened. The earth and above us gleamed in the sun. Gleamed in the sky. Gilda and the other winged horses pawed the deck impatiently. "The battle!" Reyna turned towards the shore, but saw no sign of combat. A Greek tyrant bobbed lazily in the morning tide. The hills looked green and peaceful. For a moment she wondered if the Romans had decided not to attack. Perhaps Octavian had come to his senses. Perhaps Michael and the others had managed to win over the legion. Then, an orange glow illuminated the hilltops. Multiple streaks of fire climbed skyward like burning fingers. The onagers had shot their first volley. Everybody, we reached our goal. 377. Well done, everybody. Well done, me, actually. I've done from 338 to 377. Just another 200 and... let me count it exact. 206 pages left to finish off this book, everybody. So, but everybody, that's the end of me reading you our goal today from 338 to 377. And also from what chapter did we start? From chapter 300. From chapter. Sorry, not 300. Chapter 33, I think. Oh yeah, it was page 338, didn't I say? From chapter 34 to chapter. Can be read from chapter 34 to chapter 34 to chapter. Sorry, I read it wrong. Not 61 to chapter 41. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Mister. I'm not good with Roman numerals. XLI. I can be certain that is going to be 50, 40. Okay, I'm certain that number is going to be 41. So bye-bye, everybody, and thank you for listening to this storybook of Heroes of Olympus, the Blood of Olympus. Bye, everyone, and thanks for listening to this, everybody. Thank you for watching all my videos, and if you go down, click at the blue P with a circle, click it, and you'll find all my other 100 and something pages, and all 700 or 1,000 or millions of views, okay? Bye.